everyone. Welcome to Metro Musings. We have another issue for you today. My name is Sarah Voss, and I am the Director of Community and Neighborhood Development. And today we're talking about Neighborhood Watch, everything you need to know to get involved. So I have two coordinators here with me today. I have Herman Ariano, who is the North Side Coordinator, and Charlie Keene, who is the South Side Coordinator. So thank you guys for joining me today. We're going to get started with a few questions to help the public understand how to get involved, how to get more information, and understand really what the roles are for block captains in Pueblo West. So we'll start with Charlie. The first question, Charlie, I have for you is, what is Neighborhood Watch? Can you explain to the public what Neighborhood Watch is?
Yes, I'd like to read the mission statement that we have for Pueblo West Neighborhood Watch. And our mission statement is to assist the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office by becoming the eyes and ears of the Sheriff's Department in the Pueblo West community, and to establish a power of presence and awareness which deters criminal activity, to unite and empower the citizens of Pueblo West to remain in control of their community and to be proactive in crime prevention. And to sum all of that up, it's just neighbors helping neighbors to deter crime, to make Pueblo West a safer community.
Great, that's a great sum, and we will post that mission statement with this video too, so you can read that. So how can people get involved if they're interested in being part of Neighborhood Watch?
Well, one way that people can get involved is to get these address signs that show that they are members of Pueblo West Neighborhood Watch, and Herman's going to go over that information a little later as we continue with this. And the other way is to become a block captain. And a block captain works with the people within his neighborhood. It's like Pueblo West is a large community, but within that community are little neighborhoods. The block captain's job is to get the people within that little community or neighborhood to know each other, work with each other, and be on the lookout for different things that could be crime related. Because you know what your neighbors drive, you know what their habits are, and by knowing those things, you can perhaps deter crime and reduce the crime not only in that neighborhood, but everywhere else in Pueblo West where the criminals see the signs. The signs don't stop the criminals, the neighbors do.
Great explanation. And so some of the duties of a block captain you already highlighted, but will you explain a little bit further? So a block captain, day to day, week by week, what are they doing? Are they out there, stopping crime from happening on the streets, or are they just looking out and being a point of contact? Or explain some of the duties and maybe the time commitment of a block captain.
That's a great question. And whenever we have our meetings, that question's asked every time. And there is no specific answer. That's why it's such a great question, because it goes all over the place. A block captain is an individual within his neighborhood. Each neighborhood is almost like an individual. They're all different. Out here in Pueblo West, we have tracts over an acre, tracts that are an acre. Some tracts are a third where the houses are closer together. Dependent upon your neighborhood, the block captain would probably perform different duties. The first duty of a block captain is to make your neighbors aware that we do have Neighborhood Watch, and for them to look out for each other. Just by doing that, you are making everybody aware that this is what's going on in Pueblo West, that there is an active Neighborhood Watch program. We have some block captains that just take care of their neighborhoods. They don't go to the meetings, but they do take care of their neighborhoods. They use different social platforms such as Nextdoor, that type of thing, to keep their neighbors informed. So with that, it would depend upon what you wanted to do as a block captain, how often you wanted to meet with your neighbors. So I know that's an ambiguous answer, but there's no one answer that fits everything.
No, that's a great explanation, Charlie. Thank you. Because you're right. Every person is different. Every block is different. And so it's important to accommodate the needs of who your neighbors are and figure out what works for you. So do you have to apply to be a block captain, and what does that look like?
Yes, you do have to apply to be a block captain, and you have to go to the Pueblo County Sheriff's Office webpage to do that. And that's www.pueblosheriff.com. And on there, all you have to do is type in block captain into the the search bar. That'll send you to the application process. Once you get to the application process, the main thing is you can't have a felony. There's no need to apply if you have a felony. You got to go through a background check. That's what the application process consists of. You do that. If there's a link on there to send it to our liaison, who is presently Chris Kilpatrick, Lieutenant Chris Kilpatrick. Now, if that doesn't work, print those pages, only 1 and 2. There's 4 pages there, but only print pages 1 and 2 up. Fill those out, take them to the substation out here in Pueblo West on Joe Martinez. And then when you go through the background check, they'll notify you. When you get approved, you'll get a nifty badge that says you're on Neighborhood Watch, so that you can show your neighbors that you are legally with Neighborhood Watch. You get a nice looking t-shirt that says Neighborhood Watch on it. And then what we like to do to the block captains is we like to give them tools. We have a letter, the introductory letter, that kind of introduces them to their neighbors with the information, their contact information. We also have some door hangers that one of our block captains, Lori Alazone, paid for at her own cost, so that we could drop these off to people's doors and give them the information on that. So that's pretty much what happens when you apply to become a block captain, and the procedures that it goes through. Then after that, you're on your own with what you want to do within your neighborhood.
Great. Some really good resources. I appreciate that. So it's not like you're just left on your own. You apply, there's a process and resources for you to use to communicate with your neighbors. So Herman, we're going to switch over to you and talk a little bit about those signs. So it sounds like there's 2 different signs that maybe you've noticed as driving through your neighborhood or other neighborhoods or other streets. So why don't you, Herman, talk about the signs that you see and what they mean, and maybe even hold them up and show us.
All righty. First and foremost, this is the street sign that you will see throughout neighborhoods. And this identifies a neighborhood as being under the protection of Neighborhood Watch. The way that sign comes about is the moment we get a block captain in that neighborhood. I have Metro put this sign up at the entrance to that neighborhood. There's quite a few of them out there now, but it's a warning to burglars and other people that there are people on this street that are involved with Neighborhood Watch. The second sign is what we call a yard sign, and it looks like this. And you will notice that it has 2 legs on it that are spiked into the ground in your front yard. We recommend that this sign be put perpendicular to your house so it's viewable from both sides of the street. The numbers that you see here is your actual address. And we're very fortunate to have a man by the name of Steve Johnson who puts these signs together. And you can purchase one of these for $25. And all you've got to do is fill out a form that Charlie's going to hold up and take it down to the substation, the sheriff's substation at 320 East Joe Martinez Boulevard. And another good thing about this sign is if you get a new carrier, a letter carrier in your neighborhood, you can tell them that's my address. And that helps with missed deliveries and that type of thing. So we call that a house sign or a yard sign, but that's what that is. Now the big sign that I showed you earlier, there's no cost for those. You just have to be a member, be a block captain for Neighborhood Watch.
Okay, so the yard sign, anybody can get if they're in a Neighborhood Watch area, is that correct? Or just the block captain can have it?
Well, like I said, for the street sign, you need to be a block captain for that neighborhood to get one of those. Now the yard sign, no, anybody can purchase that for $25 through the sheriff's department. Steve Johnson will put it together, and then they let you know when you can pick it up at the substation.
Okay, great. That's really good information. And like you said, it's a nice visual to show people that maybe are looking to pick up packages, or they're looking for a neighborhood to do some of that criminal activity. The more that you have those eyes and ears and visuals in the neighborhood, the more it'll deter strangers.
Besides having your address, it also identifies you as being a member.
Yeah.
These are reflective at night, these signs. So in the event that you had an emergency at your house, the police or an emergency vehicle could identify your address very quickly from either side of the street, because they are reflective at night.
Great, thank you. And so I'm sure people that would want to know, we talked about the duties of a block captain, but what about the time spent meeting and coming to your regular meetings? Because that's another way to talk about what's going on in the community at large, learn about different issues or events from the Metro or from Lieutenant Kilpatrick. So how often do you, as neighborhood watch coordinators and block captains, how often do you meet and where do you meet?
We have quarterly meetings every 3 months at the Pueblo West Library. The next one will be on July 21st at 7 p.m. in the Jerry King Room 8, depending on the COVID situation, of course. The meetings usually last an hour and a half to 2 hours. We put out quite a bit of information in that time because we have a liaison with the Sheriff's Department, Lieutenant Chris Kilpatrick, presently. Now he'll come out and he'll give the crime stats for the past quarter. And if there's anything that's going on that people need to know about, at that time, he'll give us that information. We also have speakers from all walks of life come and talk about certain things that relate to crimes or crime prevention. And even insurance people will come out and tell you what's covered, what isn't, and how you should take the serial numbers off the goods in your house and put them on a list and put them somewhere where you can identify them in case you got to make a claim. The biggest crime right now is the breaking into cars. And we also instruct people that if you see a crime, we have a phone number, 583-6250. It'll get you right into the Sheriff's Department. And if you see something doesn't look right, you can call there and use that number, and they will come out very quickly. I'm proud to say that the Sheriff's Department is a lot more reactive than what they have in the city of Pueblo. And for the size of Pueblo West, we have one of the lowest crime rates in the nation.
Great, that's good to know. And I think something that's important is the phone number that you listed, that we're not asking people to go out and confront a situation or put themselves in danger, but instead to be the eyes and the ears and make the phone call to the appropriate person in charge of doing that, like the Sheriff's Department. So I appreciate you mentioning that. So I got to attend my first meeting in January, and there was a lot of people there. Can you tell me, do you know roughly how many block captains there are in Pueblo West?
Charlie's got an accurate count presently.
Yes, right now we have 12 block captains on the north side and 13 block captains on the south side.
Great, that's a good number. So what would be ideal? How many more would you like to see that would really help you cover the entire area? Is there a dream number that you would have, Charlie?
Well, there's a dream number, but I don't think it's ever going to be achieved. With the number of tracks that we have out in Pueblo West, we try to get block captains for that area. But in that track area, it's so large that one block captain covers the whole track area, or tries to. Really, a block captain can really cover only between like 5 to 15 houses. really, if you're going to be really involved with that many people. So we have, how many people out here in Pueblo West? Maybe 40,000 in around that area, something like that. So we could have 1,000 block captains. It wouldn't be enough. But the way I look at it on the positive side, everybody really belongs to Neighborhood Watch. They just don't know it. Because if you see a crime and you report it, or you see something suspicious and you report it, you don't have to be what you say, a card-carrying member of Pueblo West Neighborhood Watch. You have to be just a good citizen that looks out for your neighbors. And that's what Pueblo West Neighborhood Watch is about.
Perfect. I love that statement, because that's one thing that I love to see at the Metro is really having that community engagement, talking to each other, listening and learning, and also having fun. I know we're talking a lot about crime prevention, but the more we get to know each other and get outside and wave and see what's going on with our families and our community, the better that we can work together, and the better that we'll all feel safe and more part of our community as well. Herman, did you have something to add?
I grew up on a farm, and one of the things that I was always intrigued by was that people did not lock their houses or their vehicles, and we didn't have any crime, very little crime. But the reason is people watched out for each other. And that my goal as a coordinator for Neighborhood Watch is that Pueblo West would become virtually crime-free by people watching out for each other. One of the worst problems we've had in the past 2 years is kids destroying the restrooms out at the pond, turning over trash cans, tagging stuff, you know. And if I happen to know, because we go out there and walk, that there's enough people in that area on any given day that they could, and everybody's got a cell phone, that they could call that in and report it. They could even get a picture of that person. That's the only way we're going to stop that. Mm-hmm. So that's my goal.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Herman and Charlie. So one last question, and both of you can chime in, but Herman, if you want to start, how can we get in touch? So I'm interested, I fill out the application, but I want to be in touch with one of you just to kind of talk further. I might have some questions. So what's a good way for people to get in touch with the coordinators?
Well, if you live on the south side of Highway 50, you want to call Charlie Keene, and his number is 547-2894. If you live on the north side of 50, you need to call me, Herman Arellano, and I'm at 547-0642, and they're both area code 719.
Great, thank you. And we'll post those numbers as well. So do I have any final thoughts from either one of you, Herman or Charlie, before we sign off today?
I would like to say something about what Neighborhood Watch isn't, because you brought up a very good point. We're not police officers. We don't try to stop a crime by getting ourselves personally involved. That's what the trained professionals do. We're not part of COA. If somebody has a rooster, if you don't have a problem with it, that's not Neighborhood Watch's problem. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, what Neighborhood Watch isn't, so that people don't get the wrong idea or that we're just tattletales. We're there to prevent crime, period.
That's a very good point, thank you. And I think that's the importance of this video today, is working together. So the Metro is trying to help work together with Neighborhood Watch, because we are COA and we can address some of those other issues that might come up. So if you get a phone call, Charlie or Herman, about those kind of things, pass them along to me, and if I hear something too, I'll pass it to you guys. So thank you again for joining us for another episode of Metro Musings. See you next time.